Hello everyone and welcome to this new video in the series Send me a picture or a video and I will give you a free posture and ergonomics assessment. Again, the goal of this playlist is societal impact. We want to share good and less good practices. You have the brains, you have ideas, and I know the body, I know posture, I know ergonomics. So together we can discuss and find the best ways to resolve your problems behind your computer, but also, for example, how you lift your children, how you iron, everything you want. Yeah. And today this video has been inspired by Mariam, who has sent me, following the first video, a article of the Huffpost, which is the 12 most clever work from home spaces created in quarantine so far. And as you will see, the title is really quite misleading because, of course, there's some inventiveness in there, I cannot say the contrary, but from an ergonomic perspective, every idea is rather a disaster. But, I mean, let's not judge too quickly and explain you why I think that. The first idea has been, well, the subject matter of quite some buzz on the internet. It's, well, I use an iron board as a work surface. Why not? Because indeed it's height adjustable. But you see, the drawback of using your iron board as a desk is that you will not have space for your knees, and as you don't have space for your knees, you don't manage to get close enough to your keyboard and you will be working like this, which is per se already a source of lower back pain. But then look, as the screen is not there, but here, you also need to extend your neck, which also kills your cervical vertebrae. So this isn't a good idea for this reason. Now let's move to the second idea, which is basically exactly the same in worse. Why worse? Because a laptop is being used, whereas before we had at least a separate keyboard and screen. What's the problem when you use a laptop? Well, we will use what I call in the posture manual rule of posture number 2. Rule of posture number 2 states that you will never have problems if your neck is too relaxed. In other words, everything we do it in order to make sure that your neck will stay relaxed. Rule number 2 has the following consequences. It says, well, everything you do with your hands should be just there. Everything you do with your eyes should be right in your visual field without excessive neck flexion, no neck extension, i.e. here. Well, my friends, this is not the size of your laptop. So you see, the problem when you use a laptop is either you have it comfortably for your hands, and that forces deep neck flexion, which is very heavy on the trapezius, or you have it at the ideal height for your eyes, and then you end up working like this, which is again a source of neck and shoulder overload. So this is a bad idea because you have no knee space, plus you work directly on the laptop. Here, well, it's simply a problem that you work on the laptop. I've described it already. You see that there has been an effort of using an external mouse. This is a good idea because, you know, if you use the touchpad, which is called a central pointing device, the risk is that your elbow goes to the side, and that is the source of neck-shoulder strain that I mentioned before. Furthermore, I'm not sure how you would feel working in front of a mirror, but I know that a number of people would get crazy from that. Here, same problem. You see that we have, say, no knee space, and you also see that everything is angled. When you see a setup like this, you can be pretty sure that the user has a twisted back, at least if he sits. This starts to make sense. This looks like a sit-stand workstation, and I must say I'm quite happy with it. Of course, there's no knee space, but when you stand, you don't need space for your knees. So this could be quite okay. The only risk is that if you should really float with your wrists when you type so that you don't get pressure points here on the corner of the boxes. But here I really see a good way of thinking about ergonomics. Here, well, it's kind of a classical workstation. What's underlined is the fact that a wrist rest has been used, made of apparently rice or something. It's okay to use a wrist rest provided that it is not thicker than your keyboard, otherwise your wrist will sink like this. I think here it's slightly too high. The other thing when you use a wrist rest is make sure that you float on it. You shouldn't rest on it, because if you rest on it, your wrists will move like this, which is the job of your elbows, and moving your wrist like this is a source of tendinitis here and there. Okay, next idea, well, this is a bit of a problem, because the keyboard is so far forward that again you're here, and now clearly I think that the screen is too high, which forces neck extension. You can also see that apparently the screen has a negative tilt, i.e. it's tilted like this, which reinforces the impression that it is too high. And as we can see here, you see that when the child is relaxed, the arms, that means the elbows alongside the body, the hands are here, not on the keyboard. So the poor girl has to stretch her arms to reach the keyboard. Not a problem if she uses it once in 15 minutes, but I doubt. The other thing is here, you see that she has her feet in the air, meaning that she would need a foot rest. And when I was talking about the tilted back, well, this is what I mean. You see that the chair has an angle with respect to the desk, whereas the small girl is sitting rather in front of the desk, but that means that she's not using the backrest, so she will not hold it like this for long. Here we have a multiple disaster. We have talked already about using a laptop and the risk it creates for your neck. Just bear in mind, when I was living in the Netherlands, the law called ABOVET at this time, that was until 2007, was defining that each hour you spend on your laptop is equivalent to 3 hours on the desktop, and the law was limiting to 6 hours a day or 6 hours a day the time on your desktop, or 2 hours a day on your laptop. So if you work like this, according to the Dutch law at that time, you're not allowed to work more than 2 hours a day. Good luck. But you see, okay, so we work straight on a laptop. That's problem number one. Problem number two, where do you fit your knees? Clearly you'll be here. Problem number three, do you want to talk about the chair and the comfort it brings to both your sitting bones due to the hard seat pan, and this chair has strictly no lumbar support. So I mean, this is probably the worst idea of the 12. This one, I'm not too sure what it is. If it's working on a couch, I really don't recommend it. Here, quite some effort has been done, but clearly you see that the seat is too deep and there's no chance that you use the backrest to support your pelvis. Therefore, you have to, say, sit in the air like this, which you will not do for 8 hours a day. You will end up like this, overloading both your lower discs and your neck and shoulder. So again, a not so good idea. Here I suspect that we have the problem for with the space for the knees also. Not too sure about it. My biggest concern is one, the height of the desk. I think that the desk is way too high, especially if you look at the type of seat that is being used. This type of seat will make you sink in it, yeah, both in height and in depth, and it for sure you're killing your lower back on this seat, and you're spreading your elbows. Basically, observe that whenever the seat brings you backwards like this, because it's a relaxed seat or wherever you want, well, that brings you away from your keyboard, so you'll need to compensate somehow. So you know, a great seat for your living room is not necessarily, or usually not, a great seat for working behind your computer. And we finish with a nice family picture where the lady takes a selfie of her husband. Look at the scoliotic shape of the back, plus the pressure under the carpal tunnel. This guy is killing his back. Yeah, this is clearly not a great idea. I mean, a lot of things seem to be quite all right. I think that the chair can be improved without much problem. I guess that the work surface is too high, but probably they can fix it also. But basically, you cannot have two screens which are that wide fitting in your visual field. So the impact of having two wide screens is more asymmetric postures, and as a result, more neck strain. I have a video which I will link in the description of this one on why dual screens are not always ergonomic, at least for most professions. Have a look at it. But you see, basically, we have 12 practices here, and only one is a good idea, which is this one. So the title of the article is really misleading. It's not clever work from home practices that we see here, and I'm sure that you can do better than that. If I can help you with that, well, send me the picture of your workstation and I will publish a review similar to this one. I hope much less critical.